The idea really came while I was driving around Lower Manhattan. It was the beginning or middle of June 2020, so we were in the middle of a statewide mandate to shelter in place.
Issue of shelter in place.
Sheltering in place.
The virus is going to run rampant.
So going outside was a very rare occurrence. This was the peak of the Black Lives Matter protests as well.
Protests raged following the death of George Floyd.
Protests were happening daily for almost a month or 2 months.
During another night of protests.
The window panes across all of Lower Manhattan had been boarded up with plywood. Each new boarded up window, I was going, when all this comes down, what's going to happen with this material? Somewhere in that idea cloud of my brain, all of these things clicked to put them together. Part of the mission of Worthless Studios is to promote public art. How do we create a program to try to make a public art project that could be responsive to the time that everyone was living through? The first steps really were to make sure that the project could exist. And for the project to exist, we needed sculptures made out of plywood. Literally took to the streets flyering throughout all of Lower Manhattan to let people know that as they were opening their businesses up again, we had a service to come and pick it up. The next phase was opening an open call for sculpture works. We had over 200 applications. We put together a jury that would ultimately decide the 5 artists from our application pool. The 5 artists we selected: Tanda Francis, Michael Zelahowski, Can Landscape Design, featuring photographs by Caroline Marduk, Baheen Ha Design, and Tony DiBernardo. The reason we said there'd be 5 artists is because we wanted it to be a complete citywide project and actually have one installation in each borough. It was important to me that the sculptures were installed across all 5 boroughs because the lived experience through that time was shared throughout all 5 boroughs. I don't think anyone's experience was any different if they were in Manhattan or the Bronx or Queens. Everyone saw businesses go under, everyone saw protests. The Plywood Protection Project gets to remind people of the incredible time that we lived through in the pandemic and very powerful Black Lives Matter protests.
What do we want? Justice! What do we want now?
Is an example of a great way to upcycle material. And lastly, I think it's trying to pave a new way to exemplify what public art should stand for.